not saying it's a good idea or a bad idea with the signs. I mean, yes, Bill's right. They have been to villages, 30-mile-an-hour school signs, some are even 15-mile-an-hour school signs. But if you're not gonna, you can put up all the signs you want. If they're not gonna enforce it, it doesn't mean, at least in the village, you got village cops all the time
Right.
controlling that
Well,
stuff.
we now have a group of residents asked us to decide what to do. I mean,
Like I said, some are on the state road, you'd have to contact the state. But I know on the county roads, the town has to put up a resolution to do a traffic study first. Has to be submitted to the county, they approve it. But I don't know how it works on the state level.
so that's but we do have that in process.
Yes, it's in
So,
process.
okay.
I just don't know what the outcome was, even if they've gotten back to us yet.
And now who puts the horse and buggy signs on?
We do,
You guys do.
yep.
I don't know that it's the Amish community that is requesting signs. I know it's Levi Violet. All right, that's from the communication I got. I think first we should identify whether there is a desire there on behalf of a majority or a representative of them. Somebody should talk to these fellows.
Levi U mast is, as Eli is mending with his heart, Eli U mast is taking the day-to-day, a lot of the day-to-day. Do you know where he is? He's on, what's that road that cuts off to Freda from 67?
Turn Hill?
Turn Hill. He's at the top of Turn Hill Road. And if you want someone just to ask him if it's coming from his community or just one of his people, it's not a problem. I see Levi at least once a week.
All right, then come back to the next board meeting.
I will, and if he wants to do something, I'll ask him to write us a note, so it's signed by him as the
Okay.
second command, so to speak. Okay?
Okay, any other old business that we haven't handled?
I'm just checking to see if it's time for the building committee to start getting together and anything.
Yeah, we should announce, I guess, at this meeting that the county passed a resolution last night. The Pizza Hut will be transferred to the town of Palatine. Once that is done, we will set up building committee meetings, and I am pretty sure the building committee will recommend hiring an architect to see where this thing goes. At the outset, our investment is very light, and I'm not sure at all where it will end up. I am sure it will be considerably less than the building project that the town of Palatine was considering before this deal came along. And we had all the lawsuits flying around. We have a much lower entry level, and we have a building that has roughly the same amount of square feet that the town of Palatine was intending to build.
Mr. Supervisor, while we're on the Pizza Hut, under old business, I'd like to make a motion. I have a written motion here, and I have extra copies if anyone in the community would like it. Okay, I'll read my motion.
I need a motion if I'm going to
There
type
you
it
go,
out.
there you go, okay. Okay, I'll read the motion, it's brought by me. Before accepting to take possession of former Pizza Hut property located in the village of Palatine Bridge, and before any transfer of funds, the Palatine Board does the following. 1, request bids and select an environmental services company to do an inspection and analysis for mold or any other environmental hazards. Request bids and select a building inspector to do a complete inspection, to produce a report in writing for the town of Palatine Board. Request bids and hire a structural engineer to report on erosion damage and any slab damage and the viability of soil retention to the southern slope. Have an MOU or an agreement in place with Cayman Properties for a right-of-way and ongoing parking and maintenance agreement. Anyone want to second this motion?
Yeah, I second it.
Okay, any further discussion?
This would be, this motion that I'm bringing is just the same if we were gonna buy any piece of property and do due diligence. We would never buy a piece of property, even if it was $1. I think we owe the responsibilities to the residents of the town to at least get these answers, because when we are going to figure out final costs involved here, an architectural plans would not let us know that we have to do remediation. It would not tell us where structural deficiencies are, and any kind of retention guardrail, whatever we need on the southern slope. This would have us lock in to know exactly what we're expecting and not getting a pig in a poke. And I think this is an important way. I could stand behind anything that happens to the board if we had this information and then the board came back and made a decision. At least we did our due diligence, which is what I've been asking for a number of months. So since this could be a reality, and this is very simple and very minimal cost of the town, we're talking a couple $1,000. I think we should go ahead and do this.
Any other discussion? Okay, I am not in favor of this resolution or motion,
It's a
whatever it
motion.
is. We do not need it, and we do not need any further delay. We already lost a $30,000 grant because of this kind of performance. I'm just not in favor of any more of it.
Point of information, Bill, has anybody entered the building yet on our side?
Yep. Our building inspector's been in it, I've been in it.
What did you all think of it once you got in?
It's structurally sound, it's a good platform to start with. I am not even sure where we're going with it. So how can I pass judgment on all this stuff? And you will recall,
Well, line fellow.
you will recall that was a Pizza Hut, that was a food service establishment. Now, if it was a repair garage, or if it had some kind of hazardous substances handled in it, I would understand all this stuff. But I don't understand this. I have bought many buildings like this and renovated these buildings. I'm not the least bit afraid of it, you know? My reputation's on the line. It's not a problem. Now, Cayman Realty, we had the upper hand with Cayman Realty. I had the deal all set to go. And Cayman Realty had to deal with Tractor Supply. If we had even said one breath's worth of talk about an eminent domain proceeding, he could not proceed with his negotiations with Tractor Supply. Because of all the shenanigans that went on down at the county board in putting off this thing, we have lost that edge.
No, Bill,
Now
you're-
it's going to become, I'm talking, it's going to become more difficult and more time consuming to accomplish anything here. You lost $30,000 in grant money and you lost the edge dealing with Cayman Realty. Now the deal is harder and the deal is more expensive. And now we want to delay some more and we want to do this monkey business.
This
And
is
that's
not-
all it is.
This is not delaying, this is doing some due diligence before we pay for the building, before we pay the back taxes. It allows us, we would be smart. Nobody enters an agreement to buy a piece of property with all these unknowns,
I did,
okay? Well,
several times.
well, you know what? You're not representing yourself, you're representing the town. This
That's
is the
right.
townspeople.
And the majority-
And the people in the town would say, what are we doing with
And
that?
a majority of the board, who are the town's representatives, voted to do that transaction. I am doing exactly what
Not
I was
asking not to
voted
do
in
the,
place for.
not to undo the transaction, I'm asking, let's do some due diligence, let's be smart about
Okay.
it, okay?
All those in favor of this resolution, say aye.
Hold on, there's a,
All those opposed, say no.
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 Goodbye.
I'm sorry, what did you say, because what did you say? I put the resolution would be yays and nays.
You just got voted down, okay?
Okay, but there was actually a question from a hand from our attorney while we're in the middle of voting.
Okay.
I think he wanted to speak.
The next thing on the agenda here is to pay the abstracts.
Now, I have some more old business.
Okay.
Sir, okay? Couple of things. Last month's meeting, I asked and you agreed that you would give us the totals of the total money is in all the accounts that the town has.
Don't put words in my mouth. You
That's-
asked for the investment account.
No, I asked for the total money that we have in the bank, that the town has in the bank in the various.
Well, my ears are bad or your memory's bad.
Do you have those numbers?
I gave you this.
That's just the investment account, that's not all our money in all the accounts. There's several accounts in several institutions, I'd like to know what they total. Could you?
Didn't Mr. Yurden submit a FOIL request?
I'm not Mr. Yurden, I'm
I know
Councilman
you are, but
Novak,
it was,
so.
but it was done on your word process.
No, it was not done on my word process.
Oh, that's right,
And
it
if-
doesn't work.
And if you're going to put words, I asked this, so the answer is no. I'm gonna ask that I have it, do I need to make a formal FOIL request as a town councilman to get this information? Because I will. If that's what we're gonna do. If we can't even give the amount of money the town has, it's kind of funny that we can't. Okay? But thank you, I appreciate it, so that's a no.
Point of order, Bill, are we gonna settle the grant question for the next 2 days or not?
We're gonna what, Hank?
Well, usually the abstracts mean we're finishing up. Are we gonna,
You said you were gonna return back
Oh,
to the salt shed.
yeah, we gotta
issue.
return to the salt shed issue. Yeah.
Thank you, Hank, 'cause I forgot
Yeah,
about it.
no, I gotta know whether to save it or
Yeah.
put it in.
Are you in a position where you would like to continue with this right away? Or would you like to put it off and be more careful with the size,
if-
number one?
I think if you put it off for just a little while, depending on what happens in the villages, there's gonna be more grants available if we continue to do the village work.
Well, even in sharing of services and consolidation, which is
Right.
both on the front burner
Right.
now, our salt shed could come somewhere in that vicinity.
We probably need to visit Florida and see what they did to get one thing.
So are you okay then with a year? 'Cause
Oh,
that's what-
yeah, it's just, I priced the salt building many years ago, and they reached back to me last year, and just the prices was substantial increase. And like I told Hank, if we put it off for 5 or 10 years, the price is gonna go up even more.
No, I just want to make sure that you don't think it's an emergency,
No.
you don't want to wait a whole other year.
I
Okay.
don't know.
Okay, that's fine. You guys worked on it. If you guys think it's there, that's fine. Okay.
I've been here since 1788 without one, I think another year ain't hurt nothing.
Let's back up and discuss what I said and what you said. I have a hard copy of the June 26th, 2019 regular meeting minutes. Councilman Novak asked if the board could get the dates and maturities and amounts of investments for the next monthly meeting. That is what I was asked.
That's incorrect of what I asked, but that's fine. That's fine. That's
No, it's
what I-
not incorrect.
It's not incorrect.
It's not
I take
incorrect.
these.
Well,
Don't try to put
I'll
words in
double
our
check. I'm
mouth.
gonna double check because I wanted to know how much money we have in our accounts. as a
We
town.
have a voice recording of this, as
Well, we'll double
well
check
as this
that.
written one.
I believe I asked for all.
Don't
of it.
lie at a meeting.
I'm not
You'll
lying,
get
and don't
caught.
accuse me of lying.
I am
Thank you.
accusing you of lying.
Okay, very good. Point of order, okay, we did not pass the BAR report. I make a motion, we pass the BAR report, Board of Assessment Review. We got a BAR report, is
Second.
Yes, we do. I missed it. Okay. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the BAR report? We also have a volunteer for the Board of Assessment Review, which I'll bring the letter to the next meeting that we have, along with some kind of recommendation.
We have an expiration in September also on this. We have a member who,
Okay.
just so you're aware.
Any more discussion on the BAR?
Make a motion to accept the report.
Well,
Oh, that's
We
right.
already
Yeah,
have
we
it.
got that.
We got that all.
All right, we're all set. That's all right.
I got it.
My bad.
okay, we're good. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried. Okay. Any more old business?
I'm just curious if we're gonna have any opposition to the salt shed. I mean, we had two individuals that went down to the county legislators last night again and tried to stop the purchase of the building. And we're gonna spend $349,000 towards a salt shed, and we couldn't build a new building, Are they gonna do the same thing that they did with the new building?
Well, you can cross me off the list because I'm working on the grant.
No?
I think that every resident has the right to say whatever they want to say. I mean, I was proposing for grants, we had a soil and water grant from Corey Ellis for this shed a while back that we could have applied for and we missed that.
Well, $30,000 for the judges' chambers or whatever wasn't nothing to sneeze at either, and we
That
lost
could have been
that money.
spent over and over again in the past 5 years.
No, it couldn't.
Yeah, it could have.
When I showed up, I looked for all kinds of
There was
ways.
actually plans to do that, and I'm not gonna rewrite history nor have a discussion.
Because you talk louder, does that give you the right to
I
continue?
can say that, but you
And
counteract.
it's not going to work that way, Chris. You gotta behave or I'll call the sheriff. Simple as that.
Be my guest.
Okay. A motion to pay the abstracts.
I'll make that motion.
Second,
All those in favor say aye.
aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, public comment. Yes, Willis.
Are there steel salt sheds? If so, it doesn't seem that that would be a practical thing. Salt is very corrosive. Are there steel salt sheds?
Well, I'm sure there is somewhere, but
Well,
I wouldn't be interested. in
well,
seeing
I
one.
wouldn't either,
No.
that's my point. The other thing, are these meetings voice recorded?
Yes.
Time after time we come up is, did so-and-so say this? No, I didn't say it. And it's pretty near time that we go back to them to find out what really happened.
That's what we did tonight.
I believe that, but I mean,
Somebody lied.
that is what should be done. If you
Anybody
gotta
else?
play, if you gotta play what's on in there to, you gotta.
Yes.
Just so the town board understands, there's, that all the councilmen do and the residents. We spent extensive time considering the purchase of the Pizza Hut. We've looked through all the issues. The town is not purchasing the building for fair market value, and it's my opinion that it's worth the risk of purchasing the building without all the additional inspections and everything. The reason that I even brought that up was just to make sure everybody's comfortable and that the county being held up in the process didn't continue. But I do think it's worth the risk, and that's my opinion to the
Thank you.
town, so that everybody understands and feels comfortable and on board with the city.
Start with left.
No, Neil was up.
Oh, okay.
Yes, Mr. Supervisor, where that form has gotten, that you're speaking on, you're accusing Chris of him authoring that, comes from the computer. That's where I got that from concerning that foil. Chris had no hand whatsoever in the development or the submission of that file, of that, foil. That's where that information.
Are you happy with what you got? Our bookkeeper spent a lot of
Yes.
time on that.
What happened 3 weeks ago, I talked to her, she accidentally sent it to City Link with an I in there. It is Sit Link. Everybody does this, even though I write it, it was written on the foil. I understand what happened and I'm good with it. She is gonna, in a few more weeks, once there's a current statement concerning those, she's gonna forward them to me. I'm happy with what Kelly has done.
Thank you.
And, you know, we talk about the plowing of the village streets up there. We do pay taxes here to the township, and it's one of the few benefits we do get from the town, from the monies that we pay as village residents. You know, like the big trucks, they don't benefit us any more than the little trucks benefit the folks in the back, you know, out in the country, I'll say. Thank you.
Okay. Yes. Margaret, you were next, I guess?
Chris is going to write a letter to Mr. Byler regarding the signs on the children in school. He is a member of the school board for the Amish.
Yeah, I'm gonna go see Levi Mast, who's acting as the assistant bishop right now. and ask him if that letter came from the whole community or just from one group of
Why would you
schools.
not start with Mr. Byler?
Well, I know Levi D and I can ask him too, but each school committee has just a small number of schools that they make it
Correct.
for. Okay, so I would work my way up to the bishop, which is usually the procedure they like to do in those cases, and I would just ask. And if Levi, you would like to write a letter on behalf of all the different schools, that's fine. So
I would think you would go back to the.
I'd go to Levi, I see Levi D almost every day. I'll ask him and see where we're at, but I said I would speak to Levi U, max. So,
Yes.
Okay. About the schools and the traffic and so on, the kids. Almost every road that you drive on, the kids are on the road coming from these schools. They walk for a good length and they are on the roads. I think one of the things that we need to do is sit down and discuss with them how important it is that their children stay off the roads when they're walking. I mean, I stopped my car one day because there was a guy in back of me, I saw him coming, just to stop because one of the girls went into the road to pick up some papers and the other kids were out there playing with her. So it's not as if it's a small little area we're talking about. It's almost every road you go on when the kids are out of school. And so what are you gonna make it, a 15-mile-per-hour zone throughout the whole community? You cannot do that. So I think telling the kids to stay off the road and explaining how important that is, and maybe they should come with their horse and buggies and pick these kids up from school. I mean, I'm not against it. I just think that there's other issues here. It's not as simple as saying putting up a sign. It's not going to work. We gotta do something that's gonna work. And getting those kids off the road might help the situation a lot.
Thank you. Anybody else? Yes.
I'm back again. I don't think that you will find a better person to work on the BAR than Brian Chrisman. He does an absolutely excellent job. And I think his term expires in September. I would ask the board to really consider asking him to stay.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Anybody else?
yeah, Mr. Supervisor, I'm going to speak as a citizen. I'm stepping away from the table to speak. My name is Chris Novak. I'm a resident here from Palatine, and I was deeply saddened at the last planning board meeting, prior to the planning board meeting, and I'm not going to get into the specifics of that because I'm going to speak to some people about it. But the harsh vitriol that's been coming pointed at members who have decided to take their time and volunteer for this town and give a good part of their time, and in some cases give up extra overtime hours and so forth, is really saddening. The fact that members of the planning board, members of the town board, members of other committees that have been here have taken a lot of criticism is really just makes me completely uncomfortable. It's a sad tale of our town. I will tell you for a fact that the catcalls and the snickers and the sneers and the voices, the under the breath comments at these meetings is not called for at all in any kind of town atmosphere. There's been a number of comments. I've endured a number of comments from chicken processing to state of my appearance of my farm and everything else. Look, if you want to fight me on town issues, fight me on town issues. Let's stop making it personal. Let's stop making it personal for Hank or Betty or Sean or anybody. I really think that we've succumbed to a level of childishness through here. I also want to point out that there's been a lot of covert taping of town people on private time. Our town attorney can back this up, but New York State Statute 275.40 says failure to disclose a proceeding, which is prior to that gavel dropping to the gavel end, it's fair game to record any part of a public meeting. Prior and afterwards, if you're recording without the person's knowledge that you're recording, it's actually a Class C felony. I have the statute here. I know that this incident was partially recorded way before the meeting. If I find out that it's without, if I'm on that tape, it's without my knowledge, I will press charges on this. Okay? I'm going to ask everybody right now to really stop the sniping. If you want to start picking on us for our positions, a position is fair game for an elected official. When you talk about private things, just like Greg mentioned about picking on his family member, it goes way beyond what's acceptable in this state. And I'm going to ask everyone, let's just stop it now. Thank you.
I read a recent editorial by Josh Thomas. I can't say that it was all wrong, but when he made the charge that it's always been followed up in the town of Palatine. I've been here for 70 years, and I've been to more meetings than anybody else in this room. It hasn't always been followed up. It's only been, the problems have only existed in the last few years.
Anybody else?
Am I allowed to say this? Chris, you know for a fact that you have bullied me, and so is the
Whoa,
Spencers.
stop right now. Are you speaking as a member of the board, or are you speaking as a citizen?
I'm just saying as a
You don't
citizen.
have to answer, Betty. Betty has the floor.
Okay. Go ahead, please speak.
I have been told by Mr. Spencer that he was opening the door to get rid of me one night from a meeting here. Not that he was trying to be polite, but he was trying to get rid of me. He came in at that meeting, at the planning board meeting, the first thing he said when he walked through the door is, "The snakes are out tonight." Now, if you can't say something nice, you don't say anything at all, and that was uncalled for. Both him and his brother had been down to the county. He badmouthed Bill, his brother did last night at the meeting. It was on tape. You know, you'd say it's gotta stop, but these are your friends, and
No,
these are
whoa,
people that
whoa,
are coming to our meetings.
Wait a minute.
And
What is
and
this,
they're not
guilt by
very professional.
association now? We're gonna have guilt by association?
I'm just making a point.
Don't lump me in. My comments speak for themselves. I heard something at the last meeting by a fellow councilman here that says that the letter in the paper was not written by the person that wrote it, it was written by his brother. That's just as uncalled for. So, you know,
So is every lie written in the paper.
I
by all of us here.
asked it
Right.
all to stop.
What about Sean and I, how
I
we've been
asked it
attacked?
all to stop tonight. I
Okay.
made a plea, a nonpartisan plea.
We have
And you
minutes from
turned
the
it around
planning
and
board
made
that
it
doesn't
partisan
even
right now.
include the things that Hank said to the two individuals in the meeting, and that's the second time he swore at them.
And-
Now, that's not being very
In my
professional.
opinion, the ones you associate with, you might better get it through their head. Plain and simple.
I'm,
Plain and simple,
And
that's
he's
all I'm
running
gonna
for
say, Chris.
council. He's running for town board.
You gotta look at the big picture overall.
I
It's
will.
basically who you align yourself
I
with.
will, I have voted every vote by myself, and who I
I'm not
choose
sa-
to
I'm
be
not-
my,
I'm not
who I
saying you
choose to be
didn't.
people in the,
I'm just
I'm
saying
friends
it's
with
who-
everyone until you cross me, I'm your friend, okay?
Sean, look
Then
at
look
who
out.
starts it every time.
Huh?
Look at who starts it every time.
I'm not saying that's right either.
Exactly.
But I'm just saying, you've got to look at the big picture overall.
I'm with you. I'm for, let's,
And same way what Betty says, if you
Let's
got nothing to
communi-
say, don't say it at all.
let's communicate. Well, if somebody's sitting behind me and they surprise me with a, you have no right to speak, even though you've lived here for 18 years, I might get mad, you know.
But you don't say what you said, you let it go. You're a
Well,
public
I-
official.
And like
That's
I
not
said
very
before,
professional.
we're
You
held
tell
at a higher
somebody, go
level.
F
A
themselves.
higher level of standard.
You're probably right, but, you know, I'm under a little pressure too.
And you know what? You know what?
I'd like to
That
entertain
person
a
is-
motion to.
That
adjourn.
person is completely wrong.
moved.
None of this,
So
none of
moved.
this, none
Yeah,
of
let's
this,
move on.
none of this is productive.